Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Please rise to welcome the procession. Good afternoon. Please remain standing for the national anthem of Singapore. I declare this ceremony open. Please be seated. Good afternoon. Guest of honour, Mr. Chan-Chun Singh, Minister for Education, Professor Tan Chor Chuan, Chief Health Scientist, Ministry of Health, and Executive Director, MOH Office for Healthcare Transformation, Professor Eugene Washington, Chancellor for Health Affairs of Duke University and President and CEO of the Duke University Health System, Professor Tan Eng Chai, President of the National University of Singapore, Mr. Goh Yu Lin, Chairman of the Duke-NUS Governing Board members, Professor Ivy Ung, Group CEO of Sing Health, Professor Edward Buckley, Vice Chancellor for Duke-NUS Affairs, Vice Dean for Education and Chair of the Department of Ophthalmology, Duke University School of Medicine, Mr. Tony Chu, Founding Chairman of Duke-NUS Governing Board, Professor Thomas Kaufman, Dean, Duke-NUS, Class of 2022, their families, distinguished guests, friends, and colleagues. Welcome to the Duke-NUS graduation and hooding ceremony. My name is Ian Curran, Vice Dean of Education. I am your Master of Ceremonies. To start this afternoon's programme, I'd like to invite the Dean of Duke-NUS, Professor Thomas Kaufman, to present his welcome address. Dean Kaufman, please.
Hello. Guest of honor, Mr. Chan-Chun Singh, Minister for Education. Our keynote speaker, Professor Tan Chor Chuan, Chief Health Scientist and Chief Executive of the MOH Office for Health Transformation. Professor Eugene Washington, Chancellor for Health Affairs, Duke University, President and CEO, Duke University Health System. Professor Tan Eng Chai, President, National University of Singapore. Mr. Goh Yu Lin, Chairman of the Duke-NUS Medical School Governing Board. Professor Ivy Ung, Group CEO, Sing Health. Mr. Tony Chu, Founding Chairman of the Duke-NUS Governing Board. Governing Board members, Class of 2022 and their families, distinguished faculty, guests, and colleagues. Good afternoon. I didn't get the same response that I did at the dinner last night. I didn't hear any whoops. But welcome to the graduation ceremony for the Class of 2022, and thank you all for coming. I'm really happy that we can share this celebration together in person. If you're counting, so the Class of 2022 is the third Duke-NUS class to graduate in the COVID era. It's the second to have an in-person ceremony, but it's the first time in 3 years that we've been able to include families and loved ones in the celebration. So can we have a round of applause for the family members? Really great to see you here and have you celebrate with us. And congratulations to all of you for on this landmark day. So I look forward to presenting the class with their degrees here on stage in just a short while, together with our guests of honor, Minister of Education, and Mr. Chan-Chun Singh. And we're very grateful for Minister Chan that he'd take his precious time to spend with us today and really to spend some time talking to the students this afternoon. So very generous of you, and thanks a lot for being here. And the fact that we're able to do this all together in the same room reflects the progress Singapore has made in emerging from the pandemic. Indeed, for the Class of 2022, a major portion of your time at Duke-NUS has been spent under the cloud of COVID-19, and this has obviously shaped your experiences with us. But throughout the disruptions of the pandemic, you've really remained focused on academic excellence with commitment and resilience, and you've looked after one another. So on behalf of the entire Duke-NUS faculty, I want to let you know how very proud of you we are for the way you've comported yourself during this really difficult time. We've admired the pragmatic and professional manner with which you've handled this adversity, and while it hasn't been easy, I'm sure you've learned life lessons during this time that will help you as you go forward. Those of you who will receive MD degrees jointly awarded by Duke University and NUS, you move forward today as confident, newly minted doctors, stepping into a new phase of your careers. For the benefit of those who weren't able to attend, I feel compelled to make a comment about the celebration dinner of the class last evening. As usual, there was great camaraderie and recognition of students who won awards. And for the first time in the history of the Duke-NUS student D&D, there was a public marriage proposal. It was quite dramatic. It was great. And well played, Xiao Xiao. Where are you? It was great and really added to the special moment to the festivities. For the graduating medical students, most of you will be, or many of you will be serving as house officers in the supporting and dynamic ecosystem of the Sing Health Duke-NUS Academic Medical Center, and I'm sure you'll get your notices soon, by the way. You'll have the opportunity to train in an environment with high standards of clinical excellence while embedded in an atmosphere of curiosity, innovation, and science. And speaking of science, we will also present degrees to a talented group of PhD graduates. This group will actually set the record for the largest cohort of Duke-NUS PhD recipients so far, 16 in all, and 3 of whom will receive dual MD PhD degrees. So this group is really a direct product of the thriving scientific community at Duke-NUS, where our translational research programs strive to make discoveries that will positively impact health in Singapore. So let me wish a hearty congratulations to the entire class of 2022. We're very proud of your accomplishments. So also in the room today are many mentors who played important roles in teaching, nurturing, and encouraging the class during their academic journeys. This group includes members of our clinical and education faculties, as well as our scientists and researchers. They also deserve a big round of applause for helping nurture this next generation of doctors and researchers for Singapore. I'd like to acknowledge our keynote speaker, the Chief Health Scientist and Executive Director of MOH Office for Healthcare Transformation, Professor Tan Chor Chuan, also a fellow nephrologist, so respect. And certainly no stranger to Duke-NUS. He played a key role in establishing the school during his prior tenure as NUS Provost and President. We look forward to your remarks today. For graduates, your scroll bears the name and endorsement of not one, but 2 world-leading universities, Duke University and the National University of Singapore. We're fortunate today that Duke Chancellor for Health Affairs, Professor Eugene Washington, and NUS President, Professor Tan Eng Chai, will be delivering their own congratulatory messages to the class. This is done in recognition of the joint degrees that you receive, but also reflects the very strong and durable partnership between our parent institutions. For those of you who are about to begin your house staff training, I know you're probably feeling a little anxious about your new roles as real doctors now, making decisions and taking on the next level of responsibility. I have one thing to say. You've got this. You're exceedingly well trained and prepared, and you've proven this on many occasions during your training. So it'll be great, and I'm sure it'll be great experiences for all of you. And then my final point is, don't forget that in medicine, everything revolves around the patient. Patients will be your very best teachers. And don't forget that your compassion for them makes a difference in their care and in your own happiness and fulfillment as a doctor. In this vein, I'll end my remarks with some of my favorite words from American physician, author, and academic Abraham Verghese, reminding us that despite the advances in science and technology, the essence of medicine is human interaction. And I'll quote here, "I think we learn from medicine everywhere that it is, at its heart, a human endeavor, requiring good science, but also a limitless curiosity and interest in your fellow human being, and that the physician-patient relationship is key. All else follows from it." So with that, let me congratulate you, class of 2022, and I wish you all fulfilling and rewarding careers. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean. Delivering the keynote address today is Professor Tan Chor Chuan. Professor Tan is both Executive Director of Ministry of Health Office for Healthcare Transformation and the first Chief Health Scientist at the Ministry of Health. As a renal physician, he completed his medical training at NUS and research training at the Institute of Molecular Medicine at Oxford University. Professor Tan served as the Director of Medical Services at the Ministry of Health from 2000 to 2004, where he was responsible for leading the public health response to the SARS epidemic in 2003. He was also NUS Provost, then Senior Deputy President between 2004 and 2008, serving as President of NUS from 2008 to 2017. In 2008, as the inaugural Chief Executive of the National University Health System, he brought the NUS Medical and Dental Schools and NUH under single leadership and governance. It is my honor to invite Professor Tan Chor Chuan to present this afternoon's keynote address. Professor Tan, please.
Good afternoon, guests of honor, Mr. Chan Chun Sing, Minister for Education, Professor Eugene Washington, Professor Tan Chai, Professor Ivy Ng, Mr. Goh Yu Lin, Mr. Tony Chu, Governing Board members, Professor Thomas Kaufman, distinguished guests, our graduates and parents, ladies and gentlemen. To the class of 2022, my very heartiest congratulations. It is really such a pleasure to be able to celebrate this important milestone with you in person, together with your loved ones. You should be very proud, as Dean Kaufman said, of not just completing your rigorous Duke-NUS education, but to have done so amidst the many disruptions imposed by the pandemic. You represent the 12th graduating class of MD students and 8th cohort of PhD graduates, including 3 MD PhDs. So together with my colleagues, we welcome you very warmly as our latest colleagues in our growing healthcare and biomedical research family. Well, how time flies. It seems like a short time ago when we began work on a new graduate medical school that would also contribute to Singapore's development as a healthcare and biosciences hub. It was a bold, ambitious idea, and I'd like to take a few minutes to reflect on what I feel have been the main markers of this unique endeavor. When work started in 2005, the overriding concern then was to have the curriculum and the teaching faculty in place in time for the school's opening in 2007. Not just a curriculum, but a pioneering new model of medical education. Not just a teaching faculty, but the most committed and talented educators and researchers we could find. That was the commitment that Duke University, the NUS, Sing Health, and the partners in Singapore had set ourselves to. As you can imagine, the effort was immense. I recall that Sandy Williams, our remarkable founding dean, had an ops room. Its walls were plastered with charts full of boxes and arrows running everywhere, and with timelines written in red and green. We were really fortunate to have Mr. Tony Chu, who was exceptional as our founding chairman. He spent many hours looking over the plans and keeping things on track. Duke was an outstanding partner, and here I'd like to thank Chancellor Eugene Washington once again for your strong and continuing support. Sing Health, NUS, many local agencies put in a huge amount of work. As a result, Duke-NUS passed its first milestone with flying colors. Its educational model became a model for institutions both locally and overseas, and the school was able to attract outstanding students from the very beginning and continues to do so, as we can see from the quality of the current cohorts. One issue in those early days was whether such a unique curriculum would provide the breadth and depth of clinical training which was needed. Hence, the school's second major milestone was the clear demonstration that its graduates could work as effectively as in our hospitals and clinics alongside graduates from the NUS and NTU medical schools. We all know that for any medical school, the third and vital marker is the impact it is making on improving health, redefining the way diseases are managed, and leading innovations in research and its translation. Duke-NUS, though still a young institution, is already distinguishing itself in this regard. Today, Duke-NUS is globally recognized as a research leader, an innovation powerhouse, and through its deep partnership with Sing Health, as a key part of a world-class academic medical center. But I think the true measure of a medical school's achievement is whether it's able to bring together talented people and create the environment the culture, and the sense of purpose that enables its students, faculty, and partners to do exceptional work. Whether the school is able to energize the members of its community to believe they can and should create impact, and in smaller and bigger ways to help reshape the future of healthcare and health. Using this yardstick, Duke-NUS has done very well. It has, I think, achieved a great deal along the original vision that had brought about its creation. So let me share a few examples, drawing on many examples that could have been picked from the graduating class today. Amongst the Duke-NUS graduates is Dr. Shravan Verma, who founded SpeedDoc. SpeedDoc is a company that provides a range of innovative telemedicine solutions, including hospital home ward services. As many of you know, during the pandemic, we established a virtual ward program in Singapore to help our health system cope with the surges in healthcare demand. I'm happy that SpeedDoc contributed to the delivery of this and other COVID-19 related services. Beyond COVID, there's also much potential to extend similar services to patients with other medical conditions and to those who require post-operative care. I'm glad that SpeedDoc has partnered our hospitals to provide round-the-clock telemedicine services for our mobile inpatient care at home program. A second great example is Dr. Nurul Binte Rajab, who is among today's MD graduates. Nurul won a Best Oral Presentation Award at last year's Sing Health Duke-NUS Scientific Congress. Her Year 3 research project assessed whether the use of the MyResponder app increases the survival of someone who suffers an out-of-hospital cardiac arrest. This is a very important problem, and her work showed that more can be done to realize the life-saving potential of this app. Then among today's PhD graduates, the largest PhD cohort from Duke-NUS to date is Dr. Xie Feng. He developed a new informatics framework called AutoScore. This generates clinical scores from electronic health records to support risk stratification of patients. It is easy to use, but its predictive power is comparable to other methods in the field. This open source software package is now downloaded about 300 times each month, and the first paper published in 2020 has garnered more than 20 citations. And the software has also been used in several clinical studies by local and overseas researchers. Beyond the many innovations and many achievements of our students, Duke-NUS faculty and researchers have also achieved high impact across many fields, from basic science to cancer therapeutics to health systems and population health research. Last week, I greatly enjoyed a visit to the Emerging Infectious Diseases program at the school. The work was very impressive. Prof. Antonio Botelletti and his team did seminal work that has significantly advanced our understanding of the T-cell immune response following COVID-19 infection and vaccination, and these findings have been useful for our vaccine policies and implementation. Prof. Wang Linfa and his team were among the first in the world to culture the SARS-CoV-2 virus, and they also developed in record time the world's first approved surrogate viral neutralizing antibody test that allows ready measurement of neutralizing antibodies to COVID-19. Well, Linfa is now leading very important work in developing a novel vaccine that could protect against a broader group of viruses that includes the SARS-CoV-2 virus. So all in all, Duke-NUS faculty have been a key part of the large network of researchers in Singapore that have worked tirelessly together on many research projects of high relevance to to our public health response. So for the graduating class of 2022, we have studied in a leading-edge academic medicine environment. We have grown up immersed in a culture that values transdisciplinary effort, that promotes innovation, and that aspires to create impact. At the same time, as Dean Kaufman said, most of you will have started on a new journey, one that involves much hard work and further long periods of training. So I was asked if I could share some thoughts or advice as you embark on this next part of your careers. I'd like to do so by talking about painting and drawing, which I've enjoyed doing since I was a child. In the early 1990s, a friend asked me to join him to enroll in classes in Chinese landscape painting. So the classes started, and we spent the first few weeks learning how to paint one tree. Then after that, we painted one tree with leaves, then 2 trees, 3 trees with leaves, and so on. 2 months later, I was glad we started painting rocks. But then we started painting 1 rock. Then a week later, 2 rocks. Then 3 rocks in a tree, 3 rocks in 2 trees, 3 rocks in a waterfall, and so on. Our class started with 12 students, but by the 4th month, most of them had left. The students had enrolled to paint landscapes, not to spend their time laboring over single trees and rocks. So the class was closed down, but I decided to continue by taking private lessons. So I know this sounds a bit like a cliche from a Chinese kung fu movie, but it was only about 10 years later that I truly understood what this was all about. The heart of Chinese painting is the mastery of the brush, the use of ink, and the control of water. As many of you know, we paint with a single brush. And with that single brush, you must be able to paint lines that are thick or fine, wet or dry, and by varying the strokes to create a lively, engaging painting. It is a process that looks easy, but takes 10 to 20 years. But once you have gained enough mastery, then it opens up many new pathways to much higher levels of innovation and creativity. The Mustard Seed Manual of Painting, first published in the Ming Dynasty, put it in a suitably mystical way. I quote, "If you aim to dispense with method, learn method. If you aim at facility, work hard. If you aim for simplicity, master complexity." You see, it's quite mystical. But it, I think, has certain elements which are relevant to us even today. Because whether you aspire to be a very good clinician, a top researcher, a public health expert, or a value-adding administrator, it is essential to invest the time and the effort needed to master the fundamentals. But even as we work to master the fundamentals, our goal must be to eventually add to them, improve them, and in some cases, to transform them. To do so, I find it useful to apply a positive overlay of what I term constructive dissatisfaction. That is to constantly discern the critical gaps in our knowledge and current practices, and to initiate or to contribute to constructive actions to address these. There are many opportunities within Singapore to do so, whether in our normal practice, at the cluster level, at the national level. As you all know, we are moving now into a bold national program called Healthier SG, where we will seek to make many fundamental, purposeful, but important changes to our healthcare system, where we will seek to place a much greater emphasis on prevention as opposed to just the treatment of diseases. As we embark on this journey, if members of our health ecosystem could work collectively together on such a positive cycle of innovation and improvement, we would be able to achieve even better health outcomes and create even greater long-term impact for our patients and our population. So this brings me to a second related thought, which I invite you to consider. That is the value of cultivating what I call a strong zoom in, zoom out capability. By this, I mean the ability to go deep into an area or topic, that is zoom in, while at the same time being able to see the bigger picture, that is to zoom out. This is very important because as physicians, we have the privilege of being able to help or heal individual patients. But as clinicians, researchers, and healthcare leaders, we also have the opportunity to improve the lives of many more people through better preventive health strategies, new models of care, novel treatment approaches. To do this, I found that being able to zoom in and to zoom out around key issues is a very useful skill, especially when dealing with complex issues and change management. So you would ask me, how might one go about trying to develop such a zoom in, zoom out ability? I think it starts by being curious and interested in a broad range of subjects, no matter how busy you might be. This will certainly make our lives more interesting, increase our work-life balance, but it will also help us to be more open to ideas and to learn to see an issue from many different angles. It is possible, I believe, to make zooming out a habit of mind, to habitually look at how to join the dots across different topics, or to create new dots and to create new patterns of thinking about familiar issues. But quite often, though, to implement change, that zoom out view needs to be closely linked, needs to be supplemented with a clear zoom in focus that provides a deeper understanding of a narrow set of issues. To be able to zoom in well, a strong grasp of the fundamentals is often useful. The ability to zoom out and to zoom in is a particularly important skill at our current time. All the major challenges we face are complex. Disruptive changes are happening across many fields. The diversity of stakeholders and views is growing ever more. To be able to contribute and create impact in such a fast-shifting future will require new mental habits, new mindsets, and fresh thinking. So to our graduates, you are starting your careers at a truly exciting time. The COVID-19 pandemic has clearly shown the power of being able to combine strengths in clinical practice, public health, research, and healthcare policy to protect and advance health and healthcare. With your training and experience in Duke-NUS, you are well poised to make strong, fulfilling contributions in so many different ways. So all of us look forward to the fresh thinking, passion, and energy that you will bring as the newest additions to our health and research communities. I'm confident that over time, you will fill out the seats that are today occupied by the master clinicians, renowned researchers, educators, administrators, and leaders present in the audience today. In time, it will be you who will share your stories of how you have improved lives and helped contribute to transformative change. Let me congratulate all of you once again on your graduation. I wish you much happiness and fulfillment in your careers. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Tan. It's now my pleasure to invite Professor Eugene Washington, Chancellor for Health Affairs, Duke University, President and CEO, Duke University Health System, to share with us his congratulatory remarks. Professor Washington, please.
Good afternoon, distinguished guests, friends, and colleagues. On behalf of all at Duke University, I bring you warm greetings. To our graduating class of 2022, I also am particularly here to convey to you our heartiest congratulations. You did it. Well done, class of 2022. Round of applause for the class. And to the family members and the many other supporters of our new graduates, congratulations to you as well. Thank you for supporting our graduates through the unique challenges they navigated while training during an extraordinary time in the history of the world. Class of 2022, over the last few years, you have gained new knowledge, learned new skills, and developed new habits. This is not just about clinical research or educational expertise, but also about the values, qualities, and behaviors that will serve you well for the rest of your professional lives. Teamwork, respect, integrity, adaptability, scientific inquiry, critical thinking, innovation, leadership, commitment, and courage. As you prepare to leave Duke-NUS, please know that you're exceptionally trained and exceedingly ready to serve. Whether you're delivering highest quality patient-centered care, educating next generations of health leaders, advancing discovery and its translation, leading healthcare companies, or writing policy that will impact health more broadly across entire populations, be confident that you are poised to make a meaningful contribution that will improve lives and create healthier communities. And I know you will draw on the power of the people that you are working with from day to day, recognizing that it is the interdisciplinary nature and collaborative efforts of teams that really drive excellence. Lastly, this graduation is about hope, strength, empathy, and resilience. These are key qualities that you have developed over the past few years. As the world emerges from the COVID-19 pandemic, we nurture great hope for the future, a bright future that is embodied through you. We know that you will use your learnings and experiences here to significantly enhance patient care, research, and education in the services of communities here and around the world. Again, class of 2022, congratulations to each and every one of you. We are proud of you and look forward to the many ways in which you will advance health and make the world a better place.
Thank you, Professor Washington. We would now like to invite Professor Tan Eng Chai, President of the National University of Singapore, to share with us his congratulatory remarks. Professor Tan, please.
Good afternoon. Guest of honor, Mr. Chan Chun Sin, Minister for Education. Keynote speaker, Professor Tan Chua Chuan, Chief Health Scientist and Chief Executive Office of Healthcare Transformation, Ministry of Health. Professor Eugene Washington, Chancellor for Health Affairs, Duke University, and President and CEO, Duke University Health System, Professor Ivy Ng, Group CEO, SingHealth, Mr. Goh Yu Lin, Chairman of Duke-NUS Governing Board, Mr. Tony Chu, Founding Chairman of Duke-NUS Governing Board, Duke-NUS Governing Board members, Professor Thomas Kaufman, Dean, Duke-NUS, deans and faculty. To the class of 2022, your dear family and friends, my heartiest congratulations to you on this very special day. I'm delighted that we can gather in person to celebrate this milestone with you. Graduation ceremonies are always reflective, poignant occasions, as we are reminded of the journey taken and how we got to where we are today. For the class of 2022, the past few years have been exceptionally challenging. You have had to learn, train, practice, and conduct research under the weight of COVID-19 and its disruptions. Notwithstanding, for many of you, COVID-19 has strengthened your passion, purpose, and resolve to contribute to healthcare, be it in clinical practice, research, or service. COVID-19 has been a deep learning experience for all of us. I'm especially heartened that the class of 2022 has pulled through these challenging years together. Each of you has demonstrated resilience and support one another in navigating a difficult, onerous, and uncertain period. Since its inception as a world-class graduate entry medical school and research powerhouse almost 20 years ago, Duke-NUS, along with its academic medicine partner, SingHealth, has been deeply committed to creating innovative, relevant, and all-round programs that nurture competent clinicians, researchers, and critical thinkers for the future of healthcare. The skills, knowledge, and learning experiences you have acquired over the course of your degree program will put you in good stead as you embark on your careers. I hope that the vision of Duke-NUS in transforming medicine and improving lives has left a lasting imprint on you. Beyond skills and expertise, Duke-NUS desires for our graduates to possess the courage to challenge the status quo and grit to continually seek improvements for the benefit of society, much like the way that Prof. Tan Chaw Chuan has suggested. The class of 2022 is beginning your careers at a very exciting time. Singapore has bold aspirations for healthcare. At the Ministry of Health Committee of Supply Debate 2022, Minister Ong Ye Kung spoke about Healthier SG and how Singapore plans to strengthen preventive medicine and make good health easier for all Singaporeans. Alongside these aspirations, society will also have to confront the challenges of an aging population and rising healthcare expenditures. So these are interesting times for healthcare, and there will be many avenues for you to contribute your skills, ideas, and insights, and to shape the future of healthcare in Singapore. To the class of 2022, congratulations on the successful completion of your degree program. You have done well, and we are all very proud of your accomplishments. and as newly minted members of the NUS alumni community, I hope that you will maintain close ties with your alma mater. There is much we can do together to encourage and inspire your juniors at Duke-NUS to realize their full potential. So in closing, I wish all of you success and fulfillment in your future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Tan. I'm delighted now to invite our Duke-NUS alumnus from the class of 2021, Dr. Lo Zhen Luan, to come forward to present the graduating class and introduce the ceremonial hooders. Dr. Lo, please.
Thank you, Professor Karan. Good afternoon. I am very honored to be invited to present the graduating class. Today marks the graduation of our 8th cohort of MD, PhD, and PhDs who joined the 12th cohort of MD class in this hooding ceremony. It is my pleasure to invite Senior Associate Dean, Professor Silke Vogel, on stage now to commence with the PhD hooding. I would also like to invite our guest of honor, Minister Chan Chun Sing, to present the scrolls, and Dean Kaufman to present the certificate holders. Gentlemen, please join us on stage. It is my honor to present the PhD graduates with their research supervisors and ceremonial holders. Amanda Bifani and Professor Wee Eng Yong. Priyanka Gupta and Assistant Professor Mavendra Singh. Lee Lin Ming and Associate Professor Ong Sin Tiong. Xie Feng and Associate Professor Bibas Chakraborty. Yen Xiaoxi and Associate Professor Bibas Chakraborty. Yao Clement Ho Tin and Professor Wee Eng Yong. Yo Sing Chen and Associate Professor Joshua Gooley. Yu Meng Ge and Associate Professor Ong Sin Tiong. Zhou Chunfei and Professor Lok Shimei. Next up, our MD PhD graduates. Matei An and Professor Wang Lin Fa. Jiang Yuheng, and Professor Patrick Casey. Thank you, professors. The ceremonial hooding for our MD class will have Associate Professor Lai Xianghui and Assistant Professor Suzanne Goh as the ceremonial hooders. It gives me great pleasure to now invite them both on stage. Arthur Edmund Cheng Nan Bu. Chan Hui Bin Yvonne. Chen Chen Chow Lawrence. Chiam Paula. Chu Junming EXO. Eng Ziqing. 韩天卓、李文丽、李云熙、廖素丽、李正月、Johannes Nathaniel Liu Minhui、Gerard Nicholas Lim Yue、Lim Chu Xian、 Lim Mei Chiu, Victoria Jane Eun Long, Lee Siu Hong, Ma Jingyi, Tomasz Jakub Murta, Niu Yupei, Niu Zhengwei Kenneth, Fabian Ng Dingjie, Ng Yuan Fan, Pan Zihang, Pei Kai Chi Elizabeth, Dylan Peng, Darren Ho Kiat Hao, Po Li Wen, Vanita, daughter of Poshi Salian, Nurul Ain binti Rajab, Si Jiawen Faith, 丹宏光、丹国仁、丹彦庆、Charmaine Tay 杰莹、Timothy Tay 凯昌、To Ting Samantha、Priscilla Wee 嘉玲、Louis Wong Chun Kit、吴子怡、 Xia Junyan, Xiao Xiao, Yo Ching Yi Ivory, Thank you, professors. Thank you, Minister Chan and Dean Kaufman. With that concludes the presentation of our new graduates. Congratulations. May I invite Professor Karan to resume with the ceremony. Professor Karan, please.
Thank you, Dr. Lowe. The taking of the Hippocratic Oath occurs at several critical points in the development of our clinicians. First, at the white coat ceremony in year 1, which marks the beginning of the Doctor of Medicine programme, and now signalling the end of their formal basic medical education. The oath lays out the professional values and personal responsibilities that our graduates all agree to uphold in the future care of their patients. By taking this oath together, we now invite the graduating class to bond with their fellow students, their forebears, their physician colleagues and mentors. I would also like to invite fellow physicians among the audience who would like to retake the oath to please rise and join the graduating class in reciting the Hippocratic Oath together. So please be upstanding. The Oath of Hippocrates. I do solemnly swear, by whatever I hold most sacred, that I will be loyal to the profession of medicine and just and generous to its members, that I will lead my life and practice my art in uprightness and honour, that into whatsoever home I shall enter, it shall be for the good of the sick and the well, to the utmost of my power, and that I will hold myself aloof from wrong and from corruption, and from the tempting of others to vice, that I will exercise my art solely for the cure of my patients and the prevention of disease, and will give no drugs and perform no operation for a criminal purpose, and far less suggest such a thing. That whatsoever I shall see or hear of the lives of men, which is not fitting to be spoken, I will keep inviolably secret. These things I do promise, and in proportion as I am faithful to this oath, may happiness and good repute be ever mine. The opposite if I shall be forsworn. Thank you. Please all be seated. It's always incredibly moving to be part of this rites of passage and affirmation of the personal and professional values that underpin our medical profession. I will now call on the graduand chosen to represent the PhD graduates, Dr. Yao Clement Ho Tin, to come and share his reflections with us. Dr. Yao, please.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. On behalf of me, as well as the next MD speaker, Dr. Axel Chu, I greet our guest of honor, Mr. Chan Chun Sing, Minister for Education, our keynote speaker, Professor Tan Chor Chuan, Chief Health Scientist and Chief Executive of the Office of Healthcare Transformation, Ministry of Health, Professor Eugene Washington, Chancellor for Health Affairs from Duke University, as well as President and CEO of the Duke University Health System, Professor Tan-Ing Chai, President of the National University of Singapore, Professor Ivy Ng, Group CEO of Sing Health, Mr. Goh Yu Lin, Chairman of the Duke-NUS Governing Board, Mr. Tony Chu, Founding Chairman of Duke-NUS Governing Board, other Duke-NUS Governing Board members, Professor Thomas Kaufman, Dean of Duke-NUS, deans and faculty, and of course, class of 2022, and as well as family, distinguished guests, friends, and colleagues. I'm honored to be here today representing the PhD and MD PhD students in the graduating class of 2022. My name is Clement Yao, and I'm one such PhD graduate. I would like to first offer my congratulations to my peers here today who are joining me in celebrating the completion of this long but rewarding journey. The PhD journey has no doubt been challenging for all of us, encountering various trials and tribulations along the way. For example, struggling to recall our undergraduate lessons for the Molecules to Medicine course, frantically preparing for our qualifying exams, and the final uphill struggle to complete our publications and thesis, and as well as everything in between. There was no end to the challenges that we faced. But we faced these challenges together, from our group cram study sessions to the endless practice sessions for our qualifying exams, and the multiple run-throughs of our thesis defense over and over again. We came out the other end of these trying situations, more analytical, more prepared, more knowledgeable, and definitely tougher, the very definition of a PhD graduate. Of course, we would not be where we are today without the tireless guidance of our mentors, as well as the other members of the faculty. Over these years, they have ensured our smooth scientific development, challenging us to be better at every turn, enriching our growth with their personal knowledge and experience. Personally, I would like to offer a special thanks to Prof. Uying Yeung, my mentor, for his guidance over these years. His dedication to scientific excellence and creative approach to discovery were essential to drive my growth, not only as a researcher, but as a critical thinker in general, an invaluable skill as we enter the workforce following our graduation. I must also thank him for his tolerance of some of my more mischievous and cheeky antics over the years, of which there was many occasions. Aside from our PIs, thanks must also be given to the many faculty members that offered their support and mentorship. Whether being through our thesis advisory committees or just as mentors, we could seek advice from. Here, I would like to personally thank Profs. David Silver, Subhash Vasudevan, Suman Abraham, Lisa Ng, and Yaoxin Ui for guiding me and helping me stay on track with my research over the years. Furthermore, I would like to thank the graduate studies teams, Silka, Rosilla, Catherine, as well as Sarada, for keeping our program running smoothly and assisting us with any issues along the way. And finally, thank you to Duke-NUS as well as the deans for giving us this opportunity to further our studies, along with their efforts to continuously support this amazing PhD program. As we move on from here today, I know my MD PhD peers will be heading back to the clinics to complete their medical training. I wish you all the best and hope that the PhD training will give you new perspectives and knowledge that will allow you to excel in the future. There will always be a great need for clinician scientists to bridge the gap between biomedical research and bedside care, bringing together the best of two worlds. For the rest of us, our PhDs have armed us with an exceptional level of knowledge, as well as the skill set necessary to be at the forefront of scientific discovery. However, we must also keep in mind that it has given us much more than that. It has taught us resilience, it has honed our problem-solving skills, and it has made us all experts in communicating our ideas as well as solutions. The PhD skill set is a toolbox that will stay with us for life, and is not something restricted for use just within the life sciences. In the words of Arthur C. Clarke, in this single galaxy of ours, there are 87,000 million suns, and for us, there are just as many opportunities out there. So whether it be in academic research, in industry, in entrepreneurship, or in other endeavors, I wish you all the best and success, and I look forward to what we will all achieve in the future. Thank you, and congratulations once again to the class of 2022. And with that, I would like to pass the stage to Dr. Axel Chu, who will be representing the MD class of 2022. Thank you.
Guest of honor, Mr. Chan Chun Sing, Minister of Education, keynote speaker, Professor Tan Chor Chuan, Chief Health Scientist, Chief Executive from the Office of Healthcare Transformation, Ministry of Health, deans, faculties, class of 2022, and family, distinguished guests, friends, and colleagues. Good evening. 晚上好. Selamat patang. Vanakkam. And to my good friend Tomasz, Cześć. I thank you all for taking the time today to be here. So when I was brainstorming about what to say for today's speech, I was a little lost. And as I usually am when I'm lost, I turned to the most trusted person in my life, my wife, for advice. She said some very touching words. She asked me to speak from my heart, and most importantly, try not to be too funny, because I'm not as funny as I think I am. A little offended, but that's okay. A good spouse speaks the truth, even when it's hard to hear. So, instead of trying to be funny, I shall tell a series of stories that would hopefully inspire you all to go out into the world and practice good medicine. For that, I would categorize my stories into pre-medical school days, medical school days, and post-medical school days. For pre-medical school days, I would like to share the story of how I started my journey in medicine and the reason I applied to medical school. For some of my good friends may know, my mother passed away from breast cancer the year I applied to medical school. During her treatment days, she was cared for by very kind and dedicated doctors. Dr. Lalit Krishna, her palliative doctor, Dr. Rebecca Den, her medical oncologist, just to name a few. Prior to that, I didn't know what doctors did. All I knew was that doctors wrote up the occasional MCs, maybe the occasional dietary advice. But after I saw how much my mother's doctors did for her, I thought it was a very meaningful career, and I wanted to pursue such a career. And so, I left my glorious training as an engineer and applied to Duke-NUS. The reason I'm sharing this story is to remind each and every one of you the unique circumstance behind the reason to pursue medicine. Do not lose sight of the why you chose medicine in the first place. Each one of you here have a unique and pure motivation to be here. Remember the pureness of your conviction, and when you are faced with dark days ahead, recall to the beginning of your journey, and it will get you through these tough moments. For my second story, it will be about medical school days. For that, I would like to talk about friendships. I think it may be best to just show you. Here is a video montage I prepared, bearing in mind that the photos taken here were before the COVID lockdown.
Rest of our lives, where we're gonna be when we turn 25. I keep thinking times will never change. Keep on thinking things will always be the same. But when we leave this year, we won't be coming back. No more hanging out, cause we're on a different track. And if you got something that you need to say, you better say it right now, cause you don't have another day. Cause we're moving on and we can't slow down. These memories are playing like a film without sound. And I keep thinking of that night in June. I didn't know much of love, but it came too soon. And it was me and you, and then we got real blue. Stay at home talking on the telephone, and we would get so excited and we'd get so scared, laughing at ourselves, thinking life's not fair. And this is how it feels. As we go on, we remember all the times we had together. And as our lives change.
Special shout out to Professor To Han Chong, Dr. Han Shu Ting, and all the research mentors out there who have guided us in our research, and for me personally, ensuring that I was well fed. I hope the pictures shown here brings back good memories of our time in medical school. I also hope they serve as a reminder that friendships made here are real and will last for decades to come. It is commonly spoken that the medical community in Singapore is small, and the person sitting next to you now might just be a colleague or even your boss in future. So do keep the friendships going and reach out whenever needed. Another thing that stood out for me when I think about my medical school days is the feeling of imposter syndrome. I believe my experience is not a unique one, and one that is faced by many in this room. I recall when patients and their families calling me, "Doctor, doctor." Wow, I feel so shy every time they call me doctor. I have to correct them saying, no, I'm not a doctor, I'm a medical student. Please don't misunderstand me. But not only do patients call you doctor, even the nurses call you doctor sometimes, and they insist on calling you doctor even you correct them. Just the other day, a nurse came up to me and my partner Vanita. Doctor, what should we do for this patient?" She looked at us eagerly. Then I looked at the nurse, I looked at Vanita, the nurse looking at me. I asked her, "Who is the doctor, me or her?" The answer was, it was none of us because we were students. We have graduated. No more hiding behind the medical student shield. That feeling of imposter syndrome will linger, but I heard it will fade quickly and when we are thrown into the deep end and must start functioning as doctors. But don't worry, I heard that we all eventually make it through. My last and final story is that of post-medical school. My thoughts, my feelings today on the cusp of starting my life as a doctor. For that, I would like to talk about work-life balance. I was told a story by my house officer during my time as a student in practice. My house officer had a patient whose son asked him, "Doctor, can you update me about my mother's condition every day? I only have one mother." My house officer was empathetic and replied yes, and subsequently did as he promised. But it dawned on him in that moment that he too only has one mother, realizing then that he hasn't been home for dinner in 5 days. This story touched me on a personal level, and I think lies the message of the importance of work-life balance. Don't neglect your family, your friends, your life outside of work, for they will sustain you on this journey. With that, I leave you with one last message. Remember your conviction, keep your friends and family close, and enjoy the journey. I wish each and every one of you the best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Axel Chu. Before I close this evening's ceremony, may I add my own personal congratulations to each and every one of our graduating class, including our newly engaged couple. We're very proud of you all. Winston Churchill famously said once, "This is not the end, it's not even the beginning of the end, but it is perhaps the end of the beginning." And so now, as you stand on the cusp of a new chapter, a new career, a new beginning, may I humbly share some sagely advice that I appreciated receiving as a newly graduated doctor some many moons ago. Make the care of your patient your first concern. Treat every patient as you would wish your own family to be treated, and always do the right thing, even if it is difficult or challenging for you to do so. As you go forward, may I wish you every success in your future endeavors. May I encourage you to be brave, be humble, be curious, and above all, be kind. Be kind to your patients, to your colleagues, and to yourself. Finally, may I challenge you in whatsoever you do, that you do it with all thy might. On behalf of the school, may I thank each and every one of you for joining us today to celebrate our graduates' outstanding achievements. And now, as I invite our guest of honor and our other dignitaries, faculty, and graduating class to participate in the ceremonial procession, may I respectfully ask everyone to stand and please wait until the procession has left the auditorium. Thank you and good evening. I formally declare this graduating ceremony closed.